My desire to return to college is palpable. I went to university for the first time at the age of 37, and at 51, I wish to go back. I hated high school. My 5 years at the all-girls school in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, with their awful green uniforms, was difficult. I disliked studying intensely. Most of the subjects were boring and of no interest to me. I did, however, enjoy biology, taught by an amazing teacher I remember to this very day. She was strict, as many of the teachers were in those days, but she was interesting and left us with no doubt that she loved the subject. Because of what she did right, I know how important it is to have a teacher that engages students. My accounting teacher took a shine to me and seemed to have more faith in me than I had in myself. She was encouraging and knew I was capable of succeeding. Because of her, I know how it feels to have a teacher who believes in you more than you believe in yourself. Despite having 2 good teachers in a sea of inadequacy, and to be honest, downright incompetence, the last place I wanted to be after high school was back in a classroom. So I headed off to Roseburg, Oregon as a short-term exchange student soon after my final exams. When I returned to South Africa a few months later, it was too late to enroll in anything new academically. After hanging around the house with no ambition or motivation, my parents gave me an ultimatum: get a job or go to a secretarial college. That was one of the worst places you could put me, even today. I don't believe there is a single thing wrong with being a secretary or having a job with administrative duties, but for me, it's a slow journey to hell. Suffice it to say, I got a job quickly. It was in a bank, and I excelled. With my father's work ethic and the added compensation of getting paid for my efforts, I put in as many hours as I needed to get my job running like clockwork. Over the next 20 years, I worked in banking, foreign exchange, recruitment, IT, administration, and business development. And then I got bored. My daughter's brilliant midlife crisis. That's how my mother referred to me enrolling at university in my mid-30s. I didn't see it as such. I had simply gotten bored with the humdrum of life and wanted to expand my mind. For more on how I got to that point, please listen to the story entitled A Decade in Australia. I applied to the University of Western Australia as a mature-aged student and was accepted into the Institution of Higher Learning. I started with just 1 unit, just one, to see if my brain could still process information at an academic level after being out of a classroom for 20 years. I took Ling 1101, Linguistics, Language and Communication. I stared in awe at the professor as she delved into the differences between semantics and pragmatics. I loved every moment of being on campus. The students relaxing on the grass between classes, the cafes providing much-needed caffeine, the libraries filled with the sounds of computer keyboards clicking. After many years in the workforce, my return to academic life was a complete success, and my joy at being a student again was indeed palpable. Everyone in my life could feel it. I loved my class, and it showed. At the end of the semester, I nervously entered the student portal to see that I had earned a higher distinction for the unit. Apart from a few classes in high school, I had been a poor student. I hated studying, and it showed. But 2 decades later, at a university on another continent, I was an excellent student, earning good grades. My confidence grew, and I took 2 units the next semester, and 3 the following one. According to university policy, I was now considered a full-time student, and I felt it. I dropped a day at work to accommodate my study schedule, and despite working only 4 days a week, according to the labour laws of Australia, I was still working full-time. I kept up a schedule of studying and working full-time for an entire year. I was exhilarated. My mind expanded as I lost myself in academic journals and university assignments. So much so that by the end of each semester, I was exhausted, collapsing in a neat little puddle after the final exams. It took me 2 years studying part-time to complete the units I needed for my first-year credits, and I couldn't bear the thought of keeping up that pace for another 4 years. The solution was to leave my full-time job, get 2 part-time jobs, and register for a full-time course load, which is exactly what I did. After 2 long years of juggling jobs, courses, friendships, the odd relationship, and a lot of home hopping, I made it through. In March 2017, I crossed the dais to shake the hand of the university chancellor as some of my friends whooped in the back of the hall. That single moment remains one of the best of my life. I now had some letters behind my name, and damn had I worked hard for them. The eternal student had been awakened. I was ever so slightly addicted to the rush of knowledge and had gone from a D student in high school to an A student at university. Despite academic fatigue from the roller coaster of the previous 4 years, I immediately enrolled and embarked on my second degree, which I committed to completing part-time. On March 12, 2017, I crossed the dais for a second time with 2 bachelor's degrees under my belt and no immediate desire to study further. A little over a year later, however, I was enrolled at the University of Texas at San Antonio, where I studied for a semester. It seemed that the student I had awakened could no longer be put back to sleep, much like Sleeping Beauty in the Walt Disney fairy tale. Unfortunately, despite being elated at being on campus again, financial constraints forced me to drop out and return to the workforce. The desire has grown ever stronger. I want it. I want it down to the core of my being. I want to be a college student again. Since my exit from UTSA, I haven't been able to quell the taste for knowledge. And yes, I hear some of you saying, you don't need to go to college to acquire knowledge. Of course I don't. You are 100% correct. But I want to. It's not only the knowledge I covet, but the experience as well. Walking the corridors as I enter lecture halls filled with inquiring minds elates me. Afternoons on the quad as students talk, laugh, toss a football, or debate life's meaning is my form of voyeurism. Poring over texts and assignments while sipping coffee in the cafe brings me solace. The frenzied clicking of keyboards in the library as students frantically complete homework and assignments delivers immense joy. It is in the huddled masses of students yearning to breathe free that I find peace. I have my sights set on being a student once more, and my sole focus right now is to figure out how to get there. This eternal student is on the hunt for another hit.